Stephan Hawkes here today at Bad Cat with Guitar Tabs Daily. Today we're going to be playing through the Bad Cat Ocelot. So this is a pretty cool amp. Main feature on it that sets it apart from a lot of other amps is that it's got a built-in IR loader from TwoNotes Audio Engineering. Allows you to load IRs. I haven't done that yet, but I will say that the IRs that it comes with sound really nicely, and I didn't have a hard time picking between them because any single one of them would have worked and they all sound great. So, but yeah, the idea behind this is that you would basically plug this directly into your audio interface and be able to get studio quality sound in a small portable amp. So you take this to a show, you can feed it to the front of house guy, and he's just going to get a sound that's easy. You don't have to lug around a big cab or do anything crazy. So the portability is great, the features are great, but the design and the sound has to also be good, and luckily for Bad Cat, it is. So I'm hearing this thing in the room, and I've heard it through the IR, and what I can tell you is that with all of the tone knobs at noon, this is a beautiful sound. It's actually surprisingly loud, so if you do want to play it through a cab, it's not some kind of a toy situation where it's just going to work in this, it's just going to work using the IRs. It actually, the sound guy's not going to want you to play much louder than this. I mean, they're not going to let you. Who hasn't taken their big 100-watt amp to the place and then had the guy put it less than 1 and then the amp doesn't sound good. So to me, this is absolutely robust enough, stable enough to play live. And the feature set on it is super great because personally, I think any amp that worth its salt should sound good with everything at noon, and this thing does. So it sounds tonally balanced. However, if you do want to mess with it, the EQ controls work perfectly. So I'm going to turn up the mid-range here. So it's the kind of mid-range that kind of just fills out the sound, which is usually what you're looking for. It's not an upper mid-range that can get harsh or honky. It just kind of gives everything more body. The treble knob definitely does what a treble knob is supposed to do. Just kind of focuses the edge of the sound. And with a Strat, all the way up is probably not necessary, but if you're playing a humbucker that's darker or fat or something like that, I mean, that's a very, very usable, good range of treble. And let's say you're playing a guitar that's maybe a little brighter or thinner, you roll that down and just kind of take the point off the sound. Go to the second position, and then you hear how warm that gets. And as I get closer to noon, it just So it's got a great sweep, seems to be able to accommodate any kind of pickup. The thing I always look for on kind of these lower wattage, more portable amps is whether or not the low end has the oomph, and I'm happy to report that this has it. Let me take this thing and turn it up as I go. Yeah, so as I do it, I just get more of that body. It sounds really nice. And again, if you had a really bassy guitar, rolled off the tone and you wanted less bass, so that's the bass all the way down, and I could see that being useful if you've got a boomier guitar, if you're doing something that's supposed to be a little less clear and a little woofier. But generally I'm not going to turn the bass all the way down on any amp, and the fact that it sounds good doing that at all is a nice thing. But you don't got to do that. It sounds good pretty much right at noon. And then you've got this presence control, which again just covers more of the top end, and really makes a difference. You can get some pretty vivid stuff out of it if you turn it up. If you back it off, it just kind of takes the edge off the top of the sound. So depending on the guitar you have, that might be what you need. Really warm. Put it back to noon. And then turn it all the way up. Probably too bright for this guitar, but maybe not for yours. Even though it's too bright, there is like a little magic that comes through the presence knob. So I don't know, I'd be tempted to dull out the guitar and crank the presence knob, but that'd just be me being greedy. So here's the thing about this that's cool. Each channel has a boost option right here that is also foot switchable, and it's got 2 channels. You don't have an independent EQ for the 2 channels, and I'm happy to report you don't need it, which is my favorite kind of 2-channel amp. Obviously, having control over the 2 channels and having a million knobs, that's all fun and dandy, but really, realistically, I just want it to be the overdriven version of the amp. That's what I want. That's why I buy an amp. If it's got 2 channels, I want to have the clean, and I want to have the overdrive, and I want to have it on a foot switch. Well, this does that, but better, because you basically get 4 channels. So you've got your clean, and then you've got a boost for the clean. And it just gives you a nice boost. It's basically like a crunch channel or an in-between channel without having to go full-on switch to your big channel. Then, if you do switch to the overdrive channel, channel 2, it sounds awesome. But it doesn't stop there. Then you can boost that. And because of the way this foot switch is dialed in, you can actually just hit both pedals at once, like I just did, and you can go from your cleanest clean to your most high gain distortion. With one foot switch. That is wonderful. I love when I can do, functionality speaking, that may be the way you wanted to do it. So you've effectively got a 4-channel amp here. As far as gain structures go, you got a 4-channel amp. It does have, in terms of the sound, it does have a very signature sound. So it's not, in the sense, it's not something where they're trying to make 4 amps in one. They're trying to give you one really good amp that you can get 4 usable sounds out of. And usually when people do that, a lot of times there can be some issues with it. Either channels don't match in tone, or the clean's better than the overdrive, or the overdrive's better than the clean. I've always been kind of an old school guy who's like, the best clean amp is an amp that just does clean. But realistically, when an amp is well made these days, that is no longer the case. Some of my favorite clean amps have overdrive channels, and the cleans are just as good as any kind of classic amp that has a clean on it. So this thing sounds great. You have to really go out of your way to get a bad sound out of it. I haven't been able to really, you'd have to really want to. I don't know. I just plugged into it. I wasn't even really that familiar with the amp, and it just sounds really, really nice. And the volume on it is powerful, so it's not like you can't use it. Again, not like you can't actually run it through a cab. I'm running it through a cab right now. I'm hearing it through the cab. I'm not even hearing it through the IR. I've listened to it through the IRs, and the IRs sound great. So it actually serves both purposes. It's got a compact design. It sounds like a real boutique. It's just a boutique amp experience, but with some modern technology in it. But they're not taking away from the quality of the amp to bring you the technology. It's the actual fusion of the two things, which, to me, sometimes, I don't necessarily even care what a company does. I just want them to do it well. I want it to be good, but if you're going to do it, if you're going to blend technology and more like legacy style things, that should be done well. And this is a perfect example of when it's done well, because this thing is literally you could just take this anywhere. Studio, gig, you're going to be loud enough at a gig. You can play a coffee shop. You could play a huge venue and mic it up. It's got a full, robust sound. So this is not, given its small appearance, this is not a toy. This is a tool. You can use this in the studio, on the stage, and if you're going to play it, and people are going to think you sound great. It honestly just sounds good. If I had to describe the sound of it, it's just Like, it just sustains nicely. It just sounds really good. I really can't say enough about the Bad Cat Ocelot. I don't have any experience with this style thing, and I haven't really played an amp that has the built-in IRs and all that. So you would suspect that adding the technology to it would take away from the prominence of the amp. But honestly, if this didn't have that, I'd still be recommending the amp even if it didn't have the IR loader, because it's just a good amp. If you put this in a big head shell like this or whatever, I wouldn't know the difference. I wouldn't be like, that seems underpowered, or that seems like it's lacking features. There's a full-featured amp, has the technology integrated really well. I'm super impressed with the Bad Cat Ocelot, and I think this will serve a lot of people a lot of good to check this out.